Hello, everybody. I'd like to welcome you to Casa Vega. My name is Christy Vega, and I'm here to talk today about a little bit about this DA race that we have coming up. We need a DA that upholds and enforces our current laws that protect the hardworking people of LA, our workers, our businesses, our families, our children, and our quality of life. This is really what we need. It's very simple. It's not political. Just enforce the laws. Instead, we have a DA that truly bends over backwards to give the least amount of consequences, even for the most violent crimes. These soft on crime policies are completely inequitable and seriously affect the low-income Angelenos the most. LA workers, such as food and restaurant workers, heavily depend on public transportation. Every single Angeleno has lost the ability to ride the bus without risking their lives. I worry about my employees and anyone that depends on public transportation. One of my bussers was seriously assaulted riding the bus, just trying to come to work. Those who can afford cars, gas, and insurance do not have to rely on the metro. Those who are not in that financial situation are forced into dangerous environments for these policies and social experiment, just to put food on their tables. Break-ins, burglaries, home invasions, vandalism, prostitution, and violent assaults have all become so commonplace that we've become jaded to it. There have been some absolutely shocking assaults on women in the city recently. Women in LA deserve to feel safe. Yes. All Angelenos deserve to feel safe. Yes. And we have a DA that is actively working against that. My business was hit by arson. Neighboring residents sleeping 5 feet away. We provided clear video evidence of the crime. So clear, they recognized the known vagrant criminal who was a repeat offender and armed when arrested. But yet the DA has decided not to press any charges, like it never happened. For those who say it's property, no big deal, you have insurance, I'd like to tell everybody, no, we don't. Insurance companies are fleeing California, and the remaining are holding us accountable for LA's poor crime ratings, by skyrocketing premiums that are doubling our costs and non-renewal notices that are being handed out all over LA City. Businesses will close if they cannot get insurance. The DA office should always be neutral, never political. Gascon has turned this office into a political tool to push his own agenda. Our legislators make our laws, not the DA. He is only supposed to enforce the laws that are already in place. But he is failing deliberately. And this is why I'm here today to support Nathan Hochman for DA. I'm proud to stand with longtime Civic leader, small business advocate, and my very good friend, Rick Caruso.
All right, that's pretty incredible, as usual, Christy. So we're all here for a common cause. Your words are important and meaningful, not only for what you said, but how it comes through as a small business owner and a woman business owner struggling to keep a business in the city. So today, in my opinion, we have a very good day in Los Angeles. It's one of the first times in recent history that we have an opportunity to change the trajectory of this great city and county of ours. And we all not only need to feel safe, we actually need to be safe. We also, I believe, are beginning an era where we're holding our elected officials accountable for their actions. And in that regard, it's my clear opinion that George Gascon and his policies have failed. They have left the brunt of rising crime on the residents of LA County. Under George Gascon, property crimes are up 15%, robberies are up 18%, increase in assaults with firearms, retail crimes have risen by 15%, and the list goes on. One of the most telling statistics and facts is that there's only over 14,000 cases of rape, assault, robberies, and shootings that have not been prosecuted by the DA's office. People are worried, people are tired, and people are fed up, and things have got to change. He has failed us. So now the good news. We have an exceptional candidate with wide bipartisan support from every corner of this county, Nathan Hochman. I am proud to stand here and endorse him for LA County District Attorney. He's a lifelong Angelino, a former federal prosecutor who has prosecuted everything from corrupt corporations to rogue police. He was the president of the LA City Ethics Commission, and he is going to restore integrity and safety to our streets. He is clearly, in my opinion, the change that LA needs. He deeply understands how to be an effective DA. He deeply understands how important it is to prosecute wrongdoing and also to work to eliminate the root causes of crime. He knows that incarceration alone is not the only solution, but an important one. And over my experience in decades of working on Skid Row with Para Los Niños, I have seen how providing holistic support to families on the margin can break the cycles of crime. In my years of work with at-risk youth and Watts, I have seen how breaking down the systematic barriers can break down the chain of misconduct. Nathan understands and is committed to addressing and holding repeat offenders accountable. This county allows repeat offenders to go on and on committing crimes without being held accountable. And it's got to stop. And we're all paying the price. To Christie's point, people are tired and fed up, and businesses are leaving. Crime is not a left or a right issue. It impacts all of us. Nathan will be an independent prosecutor. Excuse me. He is supported by Democrats, independents, and Republicans. We all want a safer Los Angeles. I'm confident with Nathan in charge, we will have a very fast, a very affecting, and a lasting change. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce our next district attorney, Nathan Hochman.
Wow. Well, thank you very much. And thank you first to all the supporters that are here. They are deputy district attorneys. They are moms. They are dads. They are victims of crimes. They are store owners. Thank you all for being here today. Thank you, Christy, for being here. Christy represents a legacy in Los Angeles. Over 65 years ago, Casa Vega was started by her father, Ray Vega. And for decades, they have run this establishment and has become an iconic fixture here in the Valley on Ventura Boulevard. But I agree that over the last couple years since George Gascon has been in office, his pro-criminal extreme policies have made your life and your employees' life incredibly difficult. Whether it's people coming in and just stealing because those policies now say that the DA's office won't prosecute for certain thefts, whether it's employees going back to their cars, being held up, because again, the DA's office won't prosecute for those type of muggings, whether it's people riding the Metro. And again, my heart goes out to anybody who rides the Metro nowadays. I was on a Metro just recently where 3 teenage kids the day before stabbed another teenager to get his backpack. It's incredibly dangerous, but your employees have to do it, and we can absolutely fix that. And let me tell you, I am honored and I am humbled to get the endorsement of such a civic leader here in Los Angeles as Rick Caruso. Rick Caruso has dedicated decades of his life to improving the lives of people here in Los Angeles. He has not only done it on the philanthropic side, he has been the president of the LA Police Commission. And Rick Caruso, in my mind, is a builder. He is someone who has taken areas of our county, and I've been to Glendale before the Americana showed up. I've been to sort of the Fairfax and 3rd Street area before the Grove showed up. And I'm here to tell you, Rick, incredible. But what Rick did, and the secret, I am convinced, of Rick Caruso's success is that he listens, he learns, and he leads. He's someone who goes into the community and doesn't tell them what he wants to do. He finds out what the community needs. He works with the people and all different stakeholders in that community to figure out how to build, in his case, these incredible shopping centers that will not only support the stores that are in that, but support the communities that will then benefit from that. That lesson, listen, learn, and lead, is what I will take into the DA's office, because George Gascon has failed all three. He has refused to listen to the over 750 deputy district attorneys that he supposedly says he leads. In fact, he is a leader without followers. These deputy district attorneys voted by 98% to support George Gascon's recall. Now, rather than take that as a signal that he is doing something right, when he actually imposed on them with 0 years of experience, that's right, George Gascon has never prosecuted or defended a single criminal case in his entire career, yet he was telling 750 deputy district attorneys who collectively bring thousands of years of experience to the job how to do their job. So rather than listen to them, what he has decided to do is just keep double and triple downing on his special directives that have changed the course of criminal justice in our system in favor of criminals and away from victims. You know, again, while Rick Caruso builds in the society, while I want to build with those 750 deputy district attorneys, an office that will be back to the gold standard that it used to be, our current district attorney is satisfied with the standard of no worse than. That's right. When he is confronted with the statistic that says 2/3 of the people in Los Angeles County feel less safe today than when he came into office, his answer is, well, LA is no worse than, and then he fills in a major city, Miami, Dallas, St. Louis, Detroit. No worse than will never be the standard when Nathan Hochman is the DA. Instead, what we will have is the gold standard. LA County District Attorney's Office used to be the gold standard by which all of their DA's offices were measured in California and the entire nation. We will go back to being the best or striving to be the best, and that is what I will demand of all 750 prosecutors who I will lead. And I will also become the partner of law enforcement. Right now, law enforcement feels demoralized. Not only is it very dangerous to work here in LA County, expensive to live here, the public doesn't all have your back. But when the DA's office says to law enforcement that we will not bring certain crimes and certain criminals to justice, not because you didn't bring us the facts, because in those cases they did, not because the law has changed, but because George Gascon has a personal political agenda that says certain crimes and certain criminals will not be prosecuted. If you're a juvenile, someone under the age of 18, and you want to steal just under $950, George Gascon will not prosecute you. If you use a gun in commission of a robbery, George Gascon will not bring that gun enhancement. If you're part of a gang and committed a violent crime, George Gascon will not bring that gang enhancement. We can change that. We can change that on day one, because I will work with the consensus of those 750 deputy district attorneys. I will work in partnership with the tens of thousands of law enforcement officers who are out there to try a great job, to do a great job for the people of Los Angeles County every single day. And I will go back to being the champion of victims. That is the saddest thing George Gascon has done over the last 3.5 years. He has abandoned victims. And I have told those victims groups to their face, I will resume what the DA's office used to be for decades as the champion of victims and their rights in the system. Now, on election night, George Gascon got 25% of the vote. That is a historic low for a district attorney sitting for re-election. No district attorney in the history of the office sitting for re-election had ever gotten so few votes. My job is to unify the 75% of voters out there who have rejected George Gascon. They come from all different political, demographic, and geographic lines in our society. Democrats, independents, Republicans, Black, white, Asian, Latino, all the different groups in our society, all the geography from Long Beach and San Pedro to Los Angeles up to Lancaster, from Santa Monica to the Three Valleys, San Gabriel, Santa Clarita, and San Fernando. What these people, then, they don't agree on a whole lot. And I've had a chance to talk to these people. I've had a chance to hear their stories. And again, they don't agree on a lot except this, that George Gascon has failed them as district attorney, that they do feel less safe today than they did when he took office, that on November 5th, they and others are going to vote George Gascon out of office. And when they get to meet me, that Nathan Hochman can and will succeed in restoring safety in this community. Again, it is an honor to be here today. Thank you very much, Rick. Yes. Really appreciate that endorsement. And thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Christy. I so appreciate the support. And thank you all the people who have come out today and all the people throughout Los Angeles County that are supporting this campaign. This campaign has great momentum. Right now, our polling shows that we would win this election by 15 points. But we are not going to do anything other than keep the pedal down to the floorboard all the way to November 5th, when on that election night, Los Angeles will have a new district attorney and get rid of George Gascon. Thank you very much.
Josh, how are you? God, it's been a long time. Good to see all the press corps here.
Talk about your decision not to officially endorse during the primary. What's changed? Why endorse Nathan Hochman now? And what do you like about his campaign specifically and the chances to beat Gascon?
So in the primary, it was clear that it was going to come down to Nathan and George. So I didn't feel the endorsement was important. I want to use my endorsements where it matters and where it can make a difference. Josh, to be honest, there's not a more important race, in my opinion, in the state of California than this race, because it really will change the trajectory of this region, which I think then changes the trajectory of the state. And so it's very important. We did an extensive poll. It's clear, based on that polling and talking to Nathan and his team and our team, there is definitely a path to win this. We're all going to have to get together and get behind him. So I want to use every ability I have, every resource I have to stand behind it because, again, I love this great region and it deserves better and our people deserve better. And I don't think people should be waking up every day in fear of crime. I don't think people should be waking up worried about their kids going to school and being attacked on the way to school. I think our parks should be clean and safe, and we should have workers coming to work. I worry about my workers, and be able to do a good day's job and go home and celebrate and be with their family. These are just basics. So I'm going to lean in as much as I can, and I think, and he's going to win.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Hi. Right.
In February of 2020, George Gascon said he, and I quote, found a balance between reducing crime and community safety and reducing incarceration, end quote. He primarily points to data-driven models. What do you make of that?
Listen, I think you judge every elected official, including George, on the numbers and the performance. And the numbers show his policies have failed and him as a leader have failed. Crime continues to go up. It's not going down. People continue to feel unsafe. And again, I want to make a distinction. It's bad enough to feel unsafe. It's worse to actually be unsafe. And people are unsafe throughout Los Angeles County. And so George has just failed, and it's time for him to move on. He's had every opportunity over 4 years to pivot, to look at the data and make changes, and he has locked in ideology that has proven not to be working. And so, to Christie's point, he's politicized an office that has the fiduciary requirement to protect Los Angeles residents, Los Angeles County residents, and prosecute crimes. And he's just not doing it. So he needs to go. He gets an F for job performance.
That's right.
Rick, I think some people will go to the polls in November and they'll look
Good morning,
at some
Alex.
races. Hello, good morning. Some people will look at some races and not have all the information in front of them. What do you think of the district attorney's race? Just why is it so crucial? To the everyday voter who may not be tapped in on local news, why is the district attorney's race so crucial?
Because there's nothing more critical for anybody in an elected official's role than to keep people safe. That's your number one responsibility, right? And I go back to being around this city and involved in this city. I don't talk to anybody that feels safe. I don't talk to anybody that's happy about the trajectory of the region, of the county. I don't talk to anybody that's feeling like things are getting better. This race has the ability to plant a flag and say, we are changing. We are going to make safety and the quality of life a priority for the residents of Los Angeles, no matter where you live, no matter what your background is, no matter what your economic status is, no matter what your culture is. We're no longer going to tolerate crime being a dominant thought process during your day. I don't know of anybody who now doesn't worry about going for a walk late at night. I don't know anybody that doesn't worry about getting on Metro any time of the day or a bus. So how can you have a thriving, growing city and not have basic safety? It just doesn't make sense. So that's the importance of this. And so what Nathan and his campaign need to do, along with all of his supporters, we need to get out the vote. We need to spread the message that if you're going to vote for nothing else in November, go to the ballot and vote for this office, because this office will change the direction of the county.
You know what, I can add?
Yeah, please.
And just to add to those thoughts, you have to understand the power of the DA's office and the power of the DA. The DA is in charge of a $460 million budget, presides over 180,000 criminal cases every year, has a staff of 2,100, 750 of them are deputy district attorneys. The DA does not take orders from the governor, doesn't take orders from the attorney general, the mayor, the chief of police, the sheriff, the city council, or the board of supervisors. Effectively, the DA is a governing body of one. And George Gascon proved that his first day, his first hour, his first email in office, where he actually issued 9 special directives that changed the course of criminal justice here in our county in favor of criminals and away from victims. I can, with the consensus of prosecutors, law enforcement, victims, and the public, restore that sense of safety, not just, as Rick said, the sense of safety, actual safety here in this county, by bringing a balanced approach. And by balance, I mean I reject extreme policies. The extreme policies of George Gascon, he calls them decarceration policies, where you are letting out violent and serious criminals before they serve their full sentences, and you're not prosecuting them to the full extent of the law in the first place. But I also reject mass incarceration policies. Both blanket extremes do not work. Where I come down is the middle, and I call it the hard middle, because it requires an individualized case-by-case analysis of the defendant's background, the crime committed, the impact on the victim, to determine who the true threats are to our public safety and need to be behind bars, and quite honestly, the ones that aren't. the first-time nonviolent offender could well pay their debt to society, and they have to pay a debt to society if they violate society's laws, but do it in a non-prison alternative, like community service, like restitution if they stole something, pay it back, or like diversion programs if they have a mental illness or a drug addiction. But they have to be held accountable. So we can build in this smart accountability. I will rely on those collective wisdom of thousands of years of 750 deputy district attorneys. And unlike George Gascon, that brings literally 0 years of experience personally prosecuting or defending cases, I will bring 34 years of experience. A prosecutor for 10 years, prosecuting over 100 cases, and a defense attorney for over 24 years, defending over 200 cases. If I'm the DA, I will be the first DA in history that not only has a prosecution background, but a defense counsel background. I'll be the first DA that has ever set up the LA Sheriff's Foundation, supporting all the deputy sheriffs around this county, but also the first DA that actually personally prosecuted a deputy sheriff, which I did in the 1990s with a team that went after 16 deputy sheriffs that were stealing drugs, guns, and money from drug dealers. We convicted them all. So in other words, I will make sure that police officers and everyone is held accountable. If they cross the line, they will be prosecuted. But I absolutely believe that the overwhelming number of police officers are doing a great job every day. When those bullets are flying in the building, they run into the building to keep us safe. Those officers deserve our respect, our admiration, and if I'm the DA, our partnership.
Yes. Yes.